Hey guys, it's welcome back to my channel. Guys, if I'm looking slightly bloated right now, it's because I took a nap. For today's video, I thought I would walk you guys in detail my cleansing routine depending on what kind of facial makeup I have. Sometimes I do a full face like today, you know, with the mascara fixes and all. Sometimes I just have base makeup on, and sometimes I just put sunscreen on. And depending on what I have on my face, I do use different types of cleansers. So I thought I would share with you guys in detail and walk you guys through all of those days, all of those different kinds of days. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this video started. Now, one thing I have realized is while I'm more at liberty to use different kinds of skincare to apply on, for example, serums, essence, creams, I'm a little picky when it comes to using cleansing products. I do stick to what I know works for my skin. I rarely venture out. It has to be really good for me to venture out, and I just end up buying the products that I already know work for me. And this comes from my belief that cleansing is probably one of the most important steps in your skincare, because it's actually a process where you can end up doing a lot of damage unintentionally, of course. So I do like to keep it simple, minimal. So let's start off with days when I have a full face makeup going on. These days, because I do have to melt down my eye makeup, I do like to use oil cleansers. Now, I have read a lot of comments saying that, oh, if you have oily skin, you're not supposed to use oil cleansers. But for me, I've been using oil cleansers as I think when I started wearing makeup, and back then I had way more oily skin. I was just like, what's dryness? How does that feel like on your skin? But I never had any trouble using them. And I think if you are having some problems with oil cleansers, it can either mean that you're not doing a very good job in washing off the residue after you cleanse your face, or that specific product that you're using is just not working for you. There's something in it that your face is having a bad reaction to. The oil cleanser indeed that I'm using right now is the Neogen Real Cica Micellar Cleansing Oil. And yes, this is the dupe. Where's my Bobbi Brown? Hang on, let me go get my Bobbi Brown one. This is a dupe for the Bobbi Brown Soothing Cleansing Oil, which I loved, and this is an empty one. I don't know why I keep it in my bathroom. So these two are great options. Of course, the Bobbi Brown is a little bit more pricier, as you can imagine, whereas the Neogen one is a lot more affordable. Both of the formulas are extremely light, and they both do a pretty good job removing my eye makeup, which is rock solid against water. Now, the reason why I do opt for oil cleansers is because I don't like to drag at my skin, and with oil cleansers, because it's so lubricating, it allows me to gently massage my face all over, so I'm not tugging it, I'm not being rough with it, and it also helps with the, you know, blackheadsy duazion going on. And I actually have a very specific way of washing my face when using an oil cleanser. So usually I am very generous. I take 6 to 7 pumps, I rub it against the palm and the fingers because that's where I needed to melt my makeup down. And I first start with my eye makeup. I gently roll my fingers and melt it down. And then I move on to my T-zone because it's a lot thicker and there's more sebum there. It's a lot greasier, and I work it there, and I also work in my hairlines as well. And then lastly, I'll cleanse my cheeks, which are the most sensitive. I don't like to spend too much time cleansing my skin because I think that will also irritate my skin, and I'm ever so gentle. Now, just to fill you guys in a bit more about the specific cleanser that I have here, it has Cica to help calm the skin, but it also has Micellar. Now, Micellar is basically, the idea is that these micellar or micellar water or micelles, they attract impurities or dirt or sebum, excessive sebum. So, and they leave our skin a bit more moisturized than other cleansers, and that's why they're a bit more suitable for sensitive skin, for drier skin types. And with this one, I have noticed that it doesn't dry out my skin as much as the Bobbi Brown one. Now, with that being said, this does take a little bit longer to melt down my eye makeup. Some days, if I'm being a bit rough with my eye makeup, I do end up having a bit of residue left. Now, another oil cleanser that I really do love is the Nature Republic Forest Garden Chamomile Cleansing Oil. This is such an oldie but a goodie. This is definitely a very popular one, and for a good reason, I must add. I I do also love using this cleansing oil. Now this one also I need to work in a bit to remove my eye makeup. It's not as effective as the Bobbi Brown one, but for the rest part it does a pretty good job. It removes other mascaras pretty well, that's why. I've been using this, gosh, for I think numerous years. I've emptied out a lot of bottles of this, so this is a trusty good old one that I also like using. So on days where I do have a full face makeup on, I do use an oil cleanser, but that's it. I don't use a second cleanser per se. On days where I have a lot of makeup, yes, I will actually. It really does depend, but I feel like using a second cleanser, as no matter how gentle it is, it really does feel unnecessary for my skin. And like I mentioned, I don't think I've ever fallen into the fad. Moving on to days where I only have base makeup on. And yes, I do this when perhaps I need to go out to a cafe to do simple editing, or maybe I'm just meeting up with a friend casually. And on these days, I do resort to more of gentler cleansing types. If you guys have watched my Get Ready With Me's or my makeup tutorials, you guys know I don't really do much for my base makeup. I sometimes do maybe a foundation plus a concealer. But most of the days when it's just casual, I just do one base makeup, and hence I don't feel like I need to use a very strong product, if you guys know what I mean. And so this is a product that I've been obsessed with. This is a Sioris Cleanse Me Softly, and it's a milk cleanser. I love milk cleansers. I honestly don't understand why we don't have more options of milk cleansers out in the market. But with milk cleansers, the idea is that I guess they're made from emulsions from fat and water. And so these have the most moisturizing and hydrating formula. They do not tug at the skin at all, and so that's why I really do love using milk cleansers. And so on days where I just have base makeup on, I'll use this, and sometimes I will end up missing out and I'll see like a bit of residual foundation left over. Then I use the same product and I'll just cleanse very gently on those spots where I still have foundation left. I don't do the whole face because it's really unnecessary. Here are some other options for more gentle cleansers that I like to reach out for. First, we have the Sensitive Care Solution Whipping Foam. I think this is like the only foam cleanser that I ever use. I rarely use foam cleansers because I feel like they're a bit too harsh for my skin, but Bella Monster nailed it once again. I have mentioned this and I explained this in the video before, but it honestly feels like whipped cream. So I just love using this because it's so fun to play around with, and it does a pretty decent job in removing all my base makeup. This one I have to say, which is the Lagom Cellup Gel to Water Cleanser, is probably the most gentle cleanser that I have out of all of these four. This honestly just feels like a really light gel that has a very minimal level of cleansing power, which is really great for days when I only have sunscreen on. This is definitely the product I will reach out for. Krave Beauty, of course. I've lost count to how many bottles I've used of this. It's both my sister's and I's. You guys know what I mean. Super fun to work with. Of course, it feels like jelly and it's very gentle as well, but it still does a pretty decent job in removing my base makeup. So this is another cleanser that I like to work with sometimes. And yes, of course, the Rovectin Skin Essentials Conditioning Cleanser is another really gentle one. I know Yunyani, who has extremely sensitive skin, she also likes cleansing her skin with this. This is also very gentle. But the great thing is, if you really work it in well, this foams up pretty well. Pretty well. Who says that? Pretty well. And these are products I also like to use when I only have sunscreen on. I've mentioned that recently I've been reaching out towards more physical sunscreens. And physical sunscreens, they last a pretty darn long time on my face, and that's the reason why I use them, because when I work out I sweat a lot, so I want my sunscreen to stay put. So they do feel a bit more tacky, they feel a bit more thick on my skin, so in order to remove them at the end of the day, I do use cleansers. The last type of days are my incredibly lazy days. These days I just can't be bothered to do anything. I can't be bothered to move, get my butt up, and come to the bathroom and start cleansing. You know, we all have those days. So what I'll do in these types of days, I'll start cleansing in my room, starting with removing my eye makeup. The product I use to do that is the Alien Fresh Moisture Lip and Eye Remover. I have definitely shown you guys this in my videos before. It works like a charm. I love it because it does such a great job in removing my mascara fixers and my Clio mascara, but it doesn't sting my eye at all. So what I'll do is I'll of course use a cotton pad. This is a very high quality cotton pad, the best for my skin. And what's great about it is that you can divide it ever so softly and smoothly into 5 different pieces without any of the fluffs. So it's a great way to really use a cotton pad efficiently. So what I'll do is I'll douse this and I'll place it on top of my eyes. Now, important thing here is I never rub. I never move and I stay still. I think one of the things that I've seen a lot of people do is go like this to remove their eye makeup. I cringe. Please don't do that. The skin around our eye area is one of the most, I guess, sensitive, the thinnest, so it's very vulnerable to crease, to wrinkles. So if you're very serious about anti-aging, you really don't want to do that. And if your product is good enough, that will do the job. So once I leave it there for like a good minute, I'm very patient, you know, which isn't hard because I'm feeling lazy, so I'm not moving anyways. And after a minute, I can see that all the mascara has come off onto the cotton pad. After I've done that, I will force my ass to come to this bathroom and remove my base makeup. And for that, I'll use the cleansers that I've showed depending on my mood. So that's it, guys. I've shared with you guys honestly everything that I do to cleanse my skin. I think to kind of summarize, I don't like to do double cleansing. I do rely on oil cleansing, and I also love using really gentle cleansers for my base makeup. If you guys have any tips of your own when it comes to cleansing in a way that protects your skin, let me know down below in the comments so I can read them. I always read your comments, of course. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next. Ciao!